In this video, I'll be reviewing and building a few of these sets from Dynamo models. As you can see, there are several sets here. I will, however, only be reviewing a select few. These sets here are the ones I'll be doing an in-depth review on, and I will be building up a couple of them. So let's get right to it. Okay, today I'm going to be looking at these particular figures. They're the 3D printed ones. We'll take a look at the other figures in a later video. And I'll also be taking a look at this model kit, which has 3D printed figures in it as well, and some 3D printed parts. This is the figure I'll be building out of this Paratrooper set. An X-Acto knife and some sprue cutters should make short work of these 3D printed supports. Having never built a 3D printed figure before, I was a little concerned about breaking some delicate parts in the removal process. Although sometimes you just need to trust your instincts and go for it. The attachment points for the supports were actually quite fine, so I have to give some praise here to Dynamo Models for paying attention to that detail. Although the video is sped up here, you can see that removing a figure like this from its supports really doesn't take a lot of time and is pretty easy in the end. Removing the rifle was a little more stressful, but again I have to hand it to Dynamo Models. Where they put the supports was very smart, and the chances of breakage were less likely. Having been around for quite a while and seeing all the technological advances in model production, I have to say that I am truly blown away by what I'm seeing with 3D printing. Blown away! And make sure you wear eye protection. The part that had me really worried was this M1 carbine. I was really concerned it would break into a million tiny pieces. No resin was damaged here. Cleaning up this 3D printed figure seems easier to do than cleaning up a resin or a conventional plastic figure. There really isn't any parting lines to clean up. You're just left with a few little nubs to scrape off. I did, however, find a few rough spots along the way, and I'm not sure if that's leftover resin from the printing process, but it was fairly easy to clean up and didn't take a lot of time to do. I was truly impressed with how little time it actually took to clean this figure up. The other set I'll construct are these French tankers. Again, the details are mesmerizing for sure, but 3D printing isn't without its flaws, and here you can see some rough patches just on the back of the coat. 3D printing is by no means a perfect thing, but it's pretty darn good, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for 3D printing. The second figure in the set comes with its supports attached. And the details are just as crisp and defined on this one as well. I'll be throwing some paint on these guys a little later on in the video. Okay, let's take a look at these American paratroopers. We have the US paratrooper officers and the US Paratrooper MG team. And the third box here with nothing on it is this one of these figures here, because they only could put two in a box, so that's why you get the blank box. This will be just a quick overview of what you get in the boxes with these Paratrooper figures. I'm not going to build any of these guys. I'm just building the one for this particular video, but this will give you a good idea of the quality and the parts that you get with each set. Dynamo Models also adds extra stuff to each kit. which include weapons, equipment, and heads. So that's a nice bonus as well. Here's a good example of what I was talking about. You get 2 heads, and one you can have with a helmet or without a helmet. I think what impresses me the most about 3D printing is the weapons, how they can integrate the slings and all the extra details. I don't think you could replicate that in plastic. Some companies come close, but it's still not the same. The last 3 figures we'll look at are from the Paratrooper MG team. As you can see, the lettering on this ammo can is small. These Garands are a true work of art. The M1 carbine is very nice as well. As well as these figures are packed, you're bound to get a little bit of breakage, and you can see that here. The pieces broke clean, so it should be a fairly easy fix. There was a slight trace of layer lines present. Most of them are around areas that should be fairly easy to clean up. Okay, and the last item we're going to look at is this French anti-tank gun 25mm. This is the deluxe edition, so that means it comes with a metal barrel and some resin bits and some resin figures. And this is everything you get when you open the box. Let's pull all the pieces out and see what we have. We'll pull all the resin bits out first. There's a lot of them. And that looks like that's all our resin. And then we'll take a look at what we get as far as the model kit itself. There is a metal barrel and a flash suppressor, and then the plastic kit itself. Extra instructions showing what you need to remove on the plastic so that the metal parts and the resin bits fit. And a small sheet of decal, and then this really cool instruction manual here. It made it look like it's old and or maybe even a manual from World War II. Very neat the way they did all this here. I really like that. Very thoughtful of them to, put instructions like this together for the kit. And we get a little bit of history and then some photographs. Looks like from an existing gun itself, and then sprue breakdown, and then the actual instructions, which look to be fairly comprehensive and easy to follow. These 3D renderings are kind of nice because you can actually see the parts that you're putting on if they match the parts in plastic, and it makes a little more sense when you're putting the kit together. And that is the instruction book. And once again, this will be a rundown of all the parts up close so you can see all the detail on the resin and the plastic. The sprue gates seem to be in good locations, so that shouldn't cause any issues when removing the parts. The plastic is free of flash and there's a lot of fine detail. The 3D printed parts are a nice bonus and should level up the final look of this kit. The printed parts are loaded with detail, but I think you could build the kit on its own without the details, to be honest. The poses of the figures are very well sculpted, as is the equipment, weapons, heads, and other fine detail. These boxes that encapsulate all the parts is a great idea. I'm not sure if they were designed this way. I think they're there just to protect the parts from breakage. Yeah, so that is a beauty of a little kit, and I will be probably building this first, and I'll be putting it in some kind of dioramic scene. So look for that coming up on the channel, hopefully soon. Okay, let's assemble these guys, and then we'll put some paint on them. This is a CA glue I just picked up, and I haven't used it yet, so this is a trial run on this particular product. The first thing I like to do before painting any figures is to pin them. I pin figures for two reasons. The first being supporting the figure while painting, and the other is for stability in a diorama setting. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you all know about the candle CA trick. For those of you that don't know about this little trick, give it a try. I guarantee you'll save yourself time and money on CA glue. A pin vise makes an excellent stand for painting. This honeycombed cardboard makes an excellent base for placing your figure when drying or when you're done at the end of the day. With this figure you get a couple choices for weapons. I'm going with the M1 carbine. The rest of the accessories fit perfectly. The sculpting and technology of these figures is just wow. The French tankers are just as impressive and just as easy to remove from their supports. And of course these figures get pinned as well. I think you can agree that the sculpting and quality of these figures is right up there with anything else on the market today. But again, nothing is perfect, and that goes with these figures as well. There was a couple rough areas, but nothing that couldn't be cleaned up with a little light sanding and some steel wool. I'm going to apply a pre-shade next with these two colors. Pre-shading or zenithal highlighting is a great technique for scale modeling. If you're unfamiliar with pre-shading or zenithal highlighting, it's simply a technique where you're creating a light source with a dark shade from below and a lighter shade from above. This will help map out all your highlights and your shadows. This will make the miniature much easier to paint when you're applying your colors. With any figure, especially resin figures, you want to put a primer coat on first. But because I'm using this Tamiya lacquer-based paint, it acts as the primer itself. Once you get the dark shade on, it's just a matter of taking the lighter shade and spraying at about a 45-degree angle all over the figure to create that light source from above. It's a very effective technique, and it'll help those of you who are new to figure painting figure out exactly where to put all your highlights and shadows. If you don't have an airbrush and you're interested in purchasing one, this gallery airbrush may be what you're looking for. If so, go to the description below and check out my affiliate link. Use the code SMALLSOLDIER to get a nice 10% discount on anything in the gallery lineup. The secret to effective pre-shading is to build the highlights up slowly. Don't try to do it all in one go and just hose it on. You want variation in those highlights. Some areas are going to be brighter, some are going to be less bright. It's just a matter of taking your time and observing what you're doing. You also want to consider what part of the figure is going to get the most light. There is a bit of critical thinking here when you're using this technique. I would suggest stopping at certain points, taking a look at your work, and then continuing after observing what you've done. It's really the most effective way to have success in this technique. If you're observant, you can see how I'm picking out certain details in certain areas and highlighting those a little more than the others. You also need to be aware that things like helmets, weapons, and equipment will cast shadows onto other areas of other parts of the figure. This is one of the things you need to know when you're pre-shading so that things turn out correctly. One of the advantages to priming or pre-shading is it will reveal any kind of defects in the figure itself. This will allow you to take care of any of those areas before you put final paint on the figure. And the final reveal. I think they look fantastic. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Let's have a great discussion about 3D printed figures or just figures in general. Hey, if you like what I'm doing here, please consider subscribing. Hit the bell notification, but most important, give this video a like. That tells YouTube you enjoyed this video and they'll suggest it to others just like you. And if you need to know more about airbrushing, check this video out right here. Talk to you soon.